Some of you might remember last year I bought a 1971 vintage trailer with my boyfriend, Nabil, now fiance.
Hi guys.
I know I made the before video a long time ago, over a year ago in fact, and I said that I'd follow up with the after video and I hadn't yet, and I'm really sorry about that. It took me a really long time to actually create this because it took us a long time to renovate the trailer.
Yeah, it's funny how long something so tiny can take to actually renovate and get it the way you want it.
It was quite a journey, wasn't it?
It was indeed.
So first, let me back up a little bit and I'm gonna show you the whole build out and finally the after, the final product of our renovation. So the number one thing that I wanted to do to this camper, even the moment we brought it home, was give it a fresh paint job.
Fortunately, I have a really good friend who does some auto body painting and has a sprayer and was able to help us out with that.
Yeah, so we saved a lot of money by paying just for materials and doing a little bit of a work exchange. So by the time that we went to pick it up, I was really eager and excited to see the final product. Came out even better than I thought, and it's a school bus yellow, so it's a little brighter, a little different than it used to be, but I think it really makes a difference. What do you think, Nabil?
Yeah, this is fantastic.
I really think that it gives it a whole new look. It makes him seem 40 years younger. Okay, now that the paint job is all done on my vintage trailer, I'm going to attach some of the decals. First up is the big map. I'm really nervous about this one because I had it custom made and it shipped all the way from Latvia. It wasn't very expensive, but it took forever to get here, so I don't want to screw it up. Here we go. It is so fun to actually put markers all the places that we've taken our camper.
We will have a legend that indicates what the colors mean. Blue is home, that's Seattle. Green is national parks and monuments that he's been to. And yellow is everywhere else. But overnight stay only. If we're passing through or visiting somebody and he doesn't stay the night, doesn't count. And of course, with being 50 years old, he has been probably to many other places than just this. This is just within the last year since we've owned him.
It's immortalized on the map, the places we've gone, the experiences we've had. Someday we'll be able to tell our kids about all of our travels with our vintage camper. We finally came up with a name for the camper, and it is, drum roll please. Do drum roll. Do it. I knew you could do it. Apollo is the Greek god of sun, and because of us being from Seattle where we don't get a lot of sun, and because of the color, we thought it's perfect. And plus, we have solar power, so it makes sense that he would be the god of sun.
Originally, this had Compact Junior on the side of it. Since we painted over it, we got a new Compact Junior logo. Same one, found it online and put him down here. Got this on the other side as well so that we can still give props to what he is. We also painted the front hitch and the rear bumper black, which was really simple with spray paint, and we were surprised at how much better it made him look overall.
So with the new paint job, the bumpers painted, and the decals on the side, it was like a whole new camper. I mean, a lot of people don't even know that it's a vintage camper until we tell them.
This says Hunter Structures, Inc., Chatsworth, California, month 7, year 71. So that's proof that he's older than both of us. As we've been on our travels, we are collecting stickers of the national parks that we have taken Apollo through. We've currently got 4 on there: dinosaur, Rocky Mountain, Mount Rushmore, and Glacier. One thing that we always get compliments on whenever we're out here is the awnings on Apollo. Jenna worked hard with an Etsy gal picking out the fabric and the colors. There's a track system that the awning's attached to that was a little bit tricky to install because we did have to drill multiple holes into Apollo, and every time we drill a hole in this fiberglass shell we get really nervous because it could leak. We had some leaks on the roof in our July trip last year and it's a pain. We don't want that anymore. One reason why this front one is as long as it is that we wanted to get it to sweep up so that I could at least have some areas that I could stand. As we walk towards, I can't stand, and that's just how it is because I'm about as tall as Apollo is without him having his pop-up there. But once we get inside, I can barely stand. I'm 6'5", and that's just the nature of being a freak.
So once we had the exterior finished, we started working on the interior, and that meant a lot of gutting and taking out unnecessary framing, at least for our purposes.
We got pretty lucky with the electrical and the plumbing. For the most part, that was in place and still functional.
You can see our freshwater tank is right here and our gray water tank is right over there. And the plumbing has already been piped to the sink.
We did end up with a bit of leaking in some of the PEX piping under the sink, unfortunately.
So we've basically replaced pretty much all of the hose with brand new hose down here because it kept bursting leaks on us. And here's the moment of truth. I've turned the water on and there's no leaks down there. Here's the sink. Success, we did it. Camper has running water.
We tried to salvage as many of the interior walls as we could, but some of it was just really damaged or covered with this wood paneling that was impossible to remove. So we ended up cutting a thin piece of plywood and putting it over some of the walls and then painting it either white to make the space look bigger or painting it with chalkboard paint so that we could actually utilize it for drawing or shopping lists or whatever we felt like.
Cutting those wall panels to fit the curves of Apollo is no simple task.
It has to be perfect.
Has to be perfect.
Is that perfect? How about now?
I think there's some work to be done still.
Some trimming.
Yeah.
It was a polyhectahedron, and I'm not very good at those.
We can never get anything on the first try, can we?
No.
You remember the flooring in the camper before we replaced it?
Oh yeah.
It looked like the Brady Bunch threw up in there.
Because the square footage is so small, we used less than one box of new vinyl flooring right on top of the existing, and it was very cost effective.
Yeah, and I probably ruined half of that by trying to cut it around all the little trim pieces in there. Doesn't look really straight. Spent less than like $50 on flooring in the end, so that's one benefit of having a really tiny space.
And after a few more final touches, we finished Apollo.
And it's just as adorable as I thought it was going to be.
We love it.
soon, I'm gonna have another Apollo video for you. So subscribe if you'd like to see more videos on Apollo, on tiny houses, or on travel.